Hi, everybody. Valor Swanson here again for another episode of CX. I always get this wrong. CX in the cloud, customer experience in the cloud. Happy New Year to you guys. I hope you had a good holiday and are all rested up and ready for another wonderful year of exciting times in the contact center industry, customer experience, agent experience, and all the other things that we do as professionals. So just kind of want to remind you again, Valor Swanson with Lifesize. My background is I used to run contact centers in the US, ran simultaneously 21 contact centers at one time. And then after doing that, came to the UK. I've been here now 13 years doing consulting on all things contact centers. And now recently working with Lifesize and discussing with you guys exactly how customer experience in the cloud can help you provide a better service, the strategic service to your wider business. So before I go on though, let's talk about what we talked about last time. We were talking about customer service being differentiated, and what how does that happen? And so we were talking about the adoption of new technology as the three takeaways back then, and that they can be enabled now. So if there's any technologies out there, any emerging technologies out there, there's no reason at all for you to be waiting around thinking that maybe next year or sometime when we get the budgets, because a lot of these things actually pay for themselves, and I'll talk about that a little bit later as to why that is the case. And then the other bit is making sure that the humanity or the human touch, that trust factor is evoked, and that can be done obviously through video, because your customers really want to reach out now, especially with the current environment. Just in fact, right now here in the UK, we just went on lockdown again. I'm pretty sure I can't even leave this room right now. I'm not sure what level of lockdown it is, but it's getting pretty crazy. So basically, having AI and video is basically can be your CX strategy for differentiating your customer service. So if you want to customer experience, if you want to go back and look at the previous blog and video, you can do so via the link that we have here coming up at the end of this show. So today, I want to kind of level set us and get a little kind of serious, more serious than I normally am, about the contact center as a strategic hub in your business. And now I've ran multiple contact centers, and I've been that guy that, as vice president of customer services, having worked with the vice president of marketing, legal, field operations, all the rest of the VPs out there, and kind of being looked upon as the necessary evil of the business. And I've always had this, whole huge thing about, we're not a cost center, we're a profit center. We make a big difference. And so my entire career, I really, really, truly believe that. And there are so many stats out there, and I'll give you guys some factoids that basically represent that your contact center truly is the strategic hub of your business. And how do you get the respect for that? We were going to open up this thing with a picture of Rodney Dangerfield. I get no respect, but the guys back in the office said, no, that'd be a little bit too crazy. So we're going to do one slide here that actually kind of denotes exactly what that issue is with the whole respect thing. So is your contact center getting the respect that it needs? Now, there was a survey done here on the slide in October of 2019. And this was, how does your contact center, or how is your contact center perceived by the rest of the business? Now, 40% of the guys out there said that customer service, that contact center is a source of insight. And then the 30% is a cost center. Now, think about it. A cost center meaning like, oh, okay, we're going to have to pour money into this, and it doesn't necessarily bring value back to the business. And then out of the people that took this survey, 250 contact centers out there, 13%, 14% of those guys out there, those VPs, those call center directors, they said, hey, the rest of the business views us as a necessary evil. Think about that. You go to work every day and you're like, I'm here, but I'm a necessary evil. Necessary evil. That is just ridiculous, actually. And then a profit center for the more enlightened sites out there. And then finally, the one that really gets me there, I want to just jump to the end here, and that's a nuisance. So 3 out of 100, 3% there indicated that their contact center is a nuisance. So, I think that we've got to set the stage here this year, especially with COVID, that the contact center is a strategic hub of the business. and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's go into some of the factoids that I like to share with you guys every time that we speak about these things. And in fact, in 2012, an American Express Global Customer Service Barometer reported that 75% of U.S. consumers had spent more money with a company if they had a positive customer experience. And they'd spend 13% more if it was actually an outstanding experience, an excellent experience. So what does that mean? That means that you are actually directly impacting the amount of revenue just based on the behaviors in your contact center and the customer journey, the customer experience that you are providing your customers through your contact center. So has anything changed? Well, lots of things have changed. It's much more competitive, hyper competitive right now. And so the things that you can do in your contact center to make that difference are critical. And to demonstrate the value that the contact center provides is also critical as well, so that you can receive the budget and the resources that you need to actually continue to grow and support the business in its strategic effort. Okay, get that word out. So what's the situation here? Okay, so the situation here is basically especially again, let's all put this in context, especially now with this whole COVID thing. The customer's lifeline, basically, to your business is your contact center. And they will actually, let me see, what's the stat here? 32% of customers will more likely not do business with you anymore if they have one poor customer experience with you. Did you know that the average customer, they will call you probably on average about 3 times a year, and the average contact's about 7 minutes. So the customer, you have 3 strikes, you're out. You have 3 opportunities here to make a difference, to make sure that the customer stays with you, spends more money with you, and actually, increases the time that they're with you, so that stays with you. Their overall loyalty to you, which is called customer lifetime value, increases. So it's really, really, really important that your contact center is viewed upon as a key component of the overall business as it relates to generating revenue and generating growth, organic growth in the business. So rather than treat your contact center as a cost center, you want to treat it as a customer center. And of course, I'm talking to singing to the choir here, guys. You guys all know that. We've all been there. We know that the importance of our business in the wider business and exactly what we need to make that leap so that we are seen as a strategic hub. There was a stat out there, and I don't have it in front of me, guys. I do apologize, but there was a survey of what resources or what is it that your contact center needs the most in one of these studies out there. And unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me, but the number one issue was budget. They needed more budget so that they could not necessarily hire more people, but also be able to exploit some of the new technologies that are out there, some of these emerging technologies, and get into some of the AI, get into some of the the chatbots, and get into some of these speech analytics and some of the contact analytics that's out there, so that you could actually provide more value to the business, the wider business, than not. And unfortunately, some of the main things that they have right now are just recording. I mean, believe it or not, one of the number one things that they had was that they listed was headsets of all things. So some of these more mundane technologies out there are not really supporting your contact center and being able to extrapolate information and provide that information to the wider business. So it is really critical that that number one issue, that budget issue, is addressed. And I'm going to talk about how that's addressed a little bit later on here in our chat. So how can you make sure that your contact center is viewed upon as a strategic hub of the business? Well, first of all, we have to get our contact center in order. We have to make sure that the key components of the contact center are running correctly, in line with best practices that are out there, so that you truly are providing value, not only to the customer, but to the business. And so that the first thing there is focus on quality, not speed. A poor customer service can just be as simple as the customer feeling rushed. Now, so let me talk about speed and quality. So there was an example here where a company applied AI that I worked with, I was consulting with, and the overall talk time was actually 18 minutes long, believe it or not. It was an insurance company, and what they were doing is they're going out getting quotes for high-risk customers, coming back with multiple quotes, and then giving that customer, the quote that they actually needed to move on with their life and drive their car, or whatever it was that they were trying to do. And so utilizing AI and RPA, robotic process automation, they were actually able to automate in the background. They invoke these technologies and automate in the background the obtaining the information that was required for the agent, so the agent could actually provide a better service to the customer. Now, this is that weird whole speed versus quality thing kicks in. The actual talk time, believe it or not, the actual talk time of the contact increased, but the average handle time decreased. So the average handle time went from 18 minutes to about 12 minutes. The average talk time went around from 9 minutes to about 11 minutes. So there was a lot less holds on there and a lot less, like, hold on, let me check this and let me just bear with me as I'm typing and looking something up. So this is where quality actually does affect speed, but at the same time, the engagement itself was longer for the customer. So they view themselves as having a better quality experience with you. Now, here's another one. Now, this one, believe it or not, here in the UK, I find this a little strange here in the UK versus my experience in the US, and that's 24/7 availability. Your customers are up all times of the night, all over the night. I can't say this correctly. They're up all of the time, and they're shopping and they're trying to get things done. And you want to make sure that you're available to them either via some of these new technologies that are out there, chatbots and AI and voice response, IVRs and the such, so that the customer does not have to wait until you open up. Because you know what? All they do with this hyper-competitive environment, it'll just go somewhere else to go shopping. And so next one here is joined up service. So what does that mean? That means that the customers don't have to repeat themselves, that you're actually accessing all the data from the various touch points and putting together in a way that the customer either can have information pre-populated in a self-service environment and or that the agent actually has this information so that the customer doesn't have to repeat themselves. Because again, that in itself lengthens the talk time, the contact itself, but actually doesn't provide any, a quality-based, experience. The next one here is anticipate needs. So there's all kinds of predictive analytics technologies out there that you can put into place. So that if you know a certain pattern behind certain customers and what they do and what they do next, the next best action here is what's that's called. You want to be able to evoke these type of technologies as well, so the customer feels that their expectations were met, even though you didn't, or exceeded, even though you didn't have to sit there and troll through all kinds of information to try to see what it is that they actually wanted to do next. It's just automatically provided to the agent, so that the customer can feel that their expectations are being exceeded. And then finally here on this last one here, to make sure that your contact center is truly viewed as a strategic hub, is to eliminate the view of the customer as being transactional. The customer has to be viewed as the human aspect of them can't be eliminated, and that comes from video. Video can actually provide a much better level of first call resolution, because you're actually there helping them with issues that they have at hand, or you're making sure that they're routed to the right agent that is basically personality matched to how the customer's patterns have been in the past. There's technologies out there that do that as well. And in fact, in some up and coming shows that we'll be discussing intelligent-based routing. So why is this important again? And for the sake of repeating myself, your contact center is the first line of defense when it comes to making sure your customers stay with you and that they don't go somewhere else. And the wider business, all your peers out there, they really need to know that and understand that. And if you're one of these guys that filled out that survey and you're like, yeah, we're a nuisance, or we're a cost center, you can't just accept that. You have to go beyond that and to be able to demonstrate the value that you provide to the wider business. So the fact that your contact center is not just, providing transactional, solutions for your customers and addressing simple things is actually critical, because there's an opportunity here to provide value at every single touch point. And the contact center is actually basically the last touch point where the customer can actually make sure that they are talking to somebody that can either save the situation or impress upon the customer how great your business is. Your agents, with all the training and agent assist technologies out there, again, these are things that can make a difference in exactly how your customers are viewing your business as well. So my point here with all of these stats and these things that I'm rattling off right now is that there's all kinds of technologies out there that can extrapolate information, can support a much more efficient customer experience and journey, and actually demonstrate to the wider business that you, through the data harvesting, that you are actually providing a big service to the wider business. You're not a nuisance, you're not a cost center, and that your business basically could potentially fail if the contact center is not viewed upon as a strategic hub. So 3 takeaways, guys. 3 takeaways. Always we have to have our 3 takeaways. And some of these things we'll talk about in future shows. So I'll say them right now as takeaways that maybe some of the folks out there, you haven't been experienced in doing some of this. But, we're here. We're here at Lifesize here to help you with some of this. If you have any questions on how to actually do some of these things I'm about to say, feel free to reach out to us. But the first takeaway is to define the economic value of your contact center. How much revenue is your contact center generating the business? How much have you been able to go from this cost to serve to reduce your cost to serve over time, because you've evoked some technologies that automate a lot of the things that are happening, a lot of the transactional calls, and you're focusing on more of the complex, more emotive calls, so that you're actually extrapolating more value from that interaction with a customer. And then the second one here is learn those business models. So there's all kinds of business models that demonstrate the value and the impact of the technologies that you can put into play to support your customer, and you support your contact center, demonstrating to the wider business that you are a strategic hub. And then finally, now, and this is, I know we've said this 1,000 times, but I cannot impress upon you how important it is to move to the cloud. There's a study out there that shows 52% of your operational costs can be reduced by moving to the cloud. Now, if you could carve out 52% of your cost in your business and then reinvest that in some of these new technologies out there to extrapolate data, provide better customer experience, provide a better agent experience, think about the hockey stick impact that your contact center could have to the wider business. So not only is your job to provide services to the customer, sales to the customer, but also your job is also to be an advocate of your contact center to the wider business, to demonstrate the value of your business to the wider business, so that you can get the investments that you need, so that you can actually be a lot more value to the business. And I know it's kind of a catch-22 situation, because you're running the whole contact center. It's like changing the oil in the plane as it's flying, and it's kind of hard, but there are people out there, there are resources out there that can support you with that. In future episodes, we're going to be talking about these things. We're going to get deeper into some of these technologies out there and show exactly the difference that they can make. And again, we're going to show cost models, benefits realization models, ROIs, and how those things can actually be demonstrated to the wider business that your contact center is truly a strategic hub. So with that said, guys, hope you guys have a good week. And thanks for joining us here at Customer Experience in the Cloud. And if you need more information, please just go to the bottom there. We have a link to this particular video, as well as a follow-up blog that will be summarizing all the information I spoke about today. All right, take care, guys. See you next time.